Hello everyone. This message is for our educators in British Columbia, Canada. What are you doing to our children? What are you doing to our children? That's what I would like to know. I have watched my son, who is ADD and gifted, go from being a straight A student, thriving with the accolades of his instructors and just an incredibly bright future ahead of him. Charismatic, witty, funny. He was a child who had so much struggles with socialization, and he's grown into this wonderful young man that has overcome such incredible odds to do so well and be thriving so incredibly. And in one fell swoop, you've taken that away from him. You've taken away any opportunities for him to socialize. He's turning 16. You've taken any opportunity for him to learn with face-to-face instruction. We had him in school, but he was reacting to the chemicals that you're spraying everywhere. And the school had no care or regard for how it was impacting him. The same people who last year, when my son was a straight A student and was doing amazingly well in school, they just loved him and they would include him in everything, and he just couldn't do any wrong. And if he ever needed support, they were right there to help him. And this year, they're calling him lazy. They're calling him unprepared. They're saying that, all of his problems at school, which is now large majority online and partially in-class instruction with social distancing, masks, and he has it not even in any class with his friends. None of his friends were in his classes, and he's struggling. And instead of finding ways to support this bright student who's doing amazingly well, they blame him. They shame him. They make him feel like he's the problem. He's at home. He's depressed. I've never seen him so depressed. And he's a kid that cares about getting A's, and he's barely getting by in his classes. And this is the kind of support the school offers? I asked before sending my kids back this year if there were mental health supports in place to deal with the fallout of these COVID restrictions and policies of social distancing and wearing masks and standing far apart and cohorts and everything else. And I was assured that mental health supports are always in place and they are a priority. I was assured this by the high school that my son goes to and the elementary school that my daughter goes to. Let me tell you, this is not the case. Mental health supports are not in place. The teachers are mentally breaking down. How do you expect these administrators and teachers to deal with our children's mental health issues when they are dealing with their own mental health issues? They're scared of the virus. They're scared of the children, the super spreaders. The super spreaders. That's how you're painting our children, the future of our society. They're super spreaders. That makes me so sick that is what our children, my children's generation, that's the heavy burden they have to carry because of our educators today. Because you're so scared to go to school and work around children. I've collected studies. I've looked at the science. Please, teachers and educators and people who make these decisions, could you please look at the science? Could you please do a little bit of research? I have a whole bunch of research I've done, and I'm just going to refer to a couple things here. I have only 12 different studies I've looked at, and there's way more than that, but and I'm not going to refer to them all. But Jacobs et al., 2009. Face mask use in healthcare workers was not demonstrated to provide benefit in terms of cold symptoms or getting colds. Cowling B et al., 2010. None of the studies reviewed showed a benefit from wearing a mask in either healthcare workers or community members in households. Bin-Reza et al. 2012. There were 17 eligible studies. None of the studies established a conclusive relationship between mask respirator use and protection against influenza infection. Long Y et al. 2020. There were no statistically significant differences in preventing laboratory-confirmed influenza, laboratory-confirmed respiratory viral infections, laboratory-confirmed, etc., using respirators or surgical masks. You know, there's so much more. I'm not going to get into it, but I have expert testimony such as this, according to University of Toronto psychologist Dr. Kang Lee. It is not until kids are about 14 years old that they reach adult skill levels in recognizing faces. Before then, kids tend to see individual facial features rather than recognizing the person as a whole. By putting on masks, we take away information that makes it especially difficult for children to recognize others and read emotional signals, which is unsettling and disconcerting. And she goes on. Patricia Rice-Doran, children themselves are not likely to benefit significantly from mandatory masking. Many discussions focus on the benefit to adults, but this is backwards. Civilized societies do not inflict likely harm on children for an uncertain benefit to adults. Okay? Are we a civilized society? I don't think so. There's even a study that suggests face masks could cause facial deformities in children. And I have it all. I have it all. So feel free to ask me for my research, because I'll send it to you and you can check it out. And I've invited lots of people to give me the research that proves that these masks and these restrictions and these social distancing are actually working. And no one has sent me a single peer-reviewed study that has any credibility whatsoever. But please, if you have something, send it to me. I want to see it. I want you to prove me wrong, because there is so much evidence that I'm not wrong. And now my elementary daughter is at risk of becoming one of your victims because you're pushing to have masks in elementary schools. I don't think so. I don't think so. My daughter will not go to school if you're going to make her breathe her own carbon monoxide all day long. That's not happening. And it will devastate her when I make her stay home. It will devastate her. Will my children ever graduate? Will my children get an education? Honestly, at this point, I don't care. I don't care. I care more about their mental health. Obviously, that's something that our educators and our leaders haven't given one inkling of thought to. Our children's mental health, our future. These are our future. People need to wake up. This is enough. Stop with the masks. Stop masking our kids at least. If you want to wear a mask, wear a freaking mask. Don't put a mask on our children. Don't impose unscientific BS that harms people on our children. That's all I'm asking, please. And if you receive an email from me, check out my links. Actually read them. There's scientific studies and expert testimony. And then send me something back that proves I'm wrong. I welcome it, because I know you don't have it.